Morning. It is day 149 of my hike from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. Probably see how wet and nasty my tent is. It is cold. It's been raining all night. It just let up, I think, a little bit, but it is 5:40 in the morning. Cold, wet, and dark. I'll see you down the line. I'm going to try to catch the 9 a.m. shuttle into Stehekin and reassess from there, but this tent is drenched. Oh, it's 6:49. It's like 6:50. I got on trail about 10 minutes ago. There's a shuttle at 9. It's 5 miles away. They should be easy downhill miles. So I'm not too worried. I think I'm good on time. That is the time I allotted, but look at this. Almost eye level, just a little bit above clouds. Sucks. My shoes were all wet and like definitely did not dry out overnight. Same with my calf sleeves, like the for the shin splints that I wear, compression sleeves. I had a warm pair, or clean, shouldn't say clean, or dry, dirty but dry pair of socks that I decided to put on instead of putting on the wet ones from yesterday. But now, unless I do laundry in town here, now that means I don't have any dry socks ready to go. Rain pants are still wet, but those aren't too bad to put back on. Same with the rain jacket. It just sucks though, like the shoes, like right now my feet are cold and wet. Thankfully, I mean, it's cold out for sure, but it's not like it was 2 weeks ago when my phone broke. That was just horrendous. But yeah, pretty nasty morning. Getting up in the dark, in the cold, having everything's wet. Just sucks so much. Alright, can't believe it's already day 149. Like I said, I have 5 miles to get to High Bridge, some historical cabin, and then I'll take a bus into Stehekin. It's the only way to get in there. There is a national park in a few miles I'll be entering, so I'll see you all then, if not sooner. At the moment, you wouldn't even know it'd been raining all night, and much of yesterday. Looks very Christmassy, almost like icicles on pine tree, Christmas tree. Just passed a fellow thru hiker, which is nice to see someone out here. I hadn't met her yet, but both planning to be on the same shuttle, but I just hadn't seen anybody in 2 days. I know there's a handful of people behind me, but it's definitely desolate out here, which has been kind of nice, but also it's a reminder, kind of on borrowed time in a way now. I mean, yes and no. I'm really flirting with that limit. October 1st is the proxy. Today's September 30th. So I feel like the PCT gods are just spiting everyone who's straggling behind trying to finish with this weather. Be like, why didn't you push harder and heed the warning by October 1st? But I am doing my best out here, pushing really hard since Ashland. As of this morning, 85 miles to go to get to the border. Once I get to this shuttle at High Bridge, which will take me into Stehekin, that'll be 80 miles to go to the border. And then there are 30 back to get to Harts Pass, where hopefully I can hitch a ride, but it's a pretty notorious road. So depending on the weather, that could pose its own challenges, but one step at a time. I am just myopically focused on getting to that border. And I'm gonna get into town here and assess the weather forecast for the next few days. But right now, I'm leaning towards just sucking it up and whatever it is, pushing through and dealing with it just so I can be done. Start trying to get too cute. Oh, well, it's gonna rain for a few days, so I'll just sit it out, and then who knows what comes next. Could end up totally missing it. So, I mean, as miserable as it is, as long as I can keep my sleeping bag and inside of my tent dry, ideally some socks dry, but I can handle it. If not, it just sucks. I think I'll try to trek on and just get it done. We'll see though. Oh. I'm really eye level with these clouds or this fog. Pretty cozy and cool. Aside from the fact that my feet are cold and completely soaked. Okay. I think this actually, I'm going to keep it rolling because this might be the national park sign. Let's see. Lake Chowan National Recreation Area. Not yet. And I was coming out of the Glacier Peak Wilderness. Not a bad place to take shelter if needed. Hollowed out tree, as long as it doesn't blow down. So apparently 0.6 miles ago I entered North Cascades National Park. Maybe that was that sign that was about 0.6 miles ago, I don't know. But yeah, I'm officially in North Cascades National Park. I believe it's the last, or it is the last, I believe, of 7 national parks on the PCT. Unfortunately, because of one of the fire closures, I did not go into Glacier or Rainier National Park. As far as I'm aware, I haven't had time to look this up yet. It was only like less than 30 miles of trail closure, but I think it was mostly when it went through Rainier National Park. I believe I've been to Mount Rainier. My family's a kid, though. I think previously in this vlog I said I'd only been to Critter Lake National Park. I think it was actually 2. So anyways, this is the last of the 7, and I think there's a pretty epic sign by where the bus picks up, so I'll get that in the vlog. So the bottleneck for me in town is 100% going to be charging my power banks and my devices. For some reason, they just depleted away very quickly these last 5 days, 4 full days, 2 half days, and it's not a good place to be. So, like, out of power. All that's left is like a third or half on my phone here. So that's the biggest bottleneck. If I have time on there, I might just, like, while things are charging, do a load of laundry. But it's kind of a process. I know they have it there. We got to get quarters, and it's like a public thing and whatever. So, and then I have a bunch of videos that need to upload, but I'm only going to do that if I have spare time. Otherwise, there's going to be a bit of a gap in these videos as I make my final push. But the other thing is the weather. If it's, and there's no way to know, right? But if it's going to be exactly no way to know, but if it's going to be similar to how it was these last couple days, like, it wasn't pleasant, but I was able to, it's manageable. I would just push through that. But if some crazy storm that's coming, then I might have to reassess. And so a couple of variables at play here. I'm just gonna get into town, find somewhere to charge my devices, find somewhere to eat, because I have no food left. All I had this morning left to eat was 1 Pro Bar. I had it while walking. And then I have to go to the post office to get my resupply box I sent to myself, and then I'll figure it out from there. Go, little guy, go. You blended in real well with the dirt. Got like half a mile left to go. I'm plenty good on time. My left foot's not doing great. The whole left everything, hip down. Definitely got what I believe is an IT band issue. I'm surprised it took me that long to connect the dots. I mean, I knew that might have been the case, but I feel like, though, 85 miles plus 30, I should be able to push through anything here. But it's a real thing. I'm not feeling too strong at the moment. I mean, maybe that's the wrong word. I have injury pains. It's just how bad are they going to get? I'm basically not walking right this whole time for days now, but like even this morning, like kind of minor limp. So anyways, that aside, made really good time here. I figured I had too much of a buffer, but I didn't want to cut it too close, and given the pacing that's been going on lately with the terrain, it was a little skewed towards that. So I think it's like, oh, I'll check in when I get to the sign. Crossing what's called Agnes Creek. As a sizable creek. To me, it gives off more river vibes, but I don't know the criteria for naming these things. Nice to see the sun peeking out. It's been a day and a half, I think, at least. And when it was prior to that, it wasn't for a long time. Man, it is amazing what dark, cold, damp, cloudy, overcast for days can do to you. It feels like days. I think it was really a day and a half, but like just seeing the sun, I didn't fully realize how, like, I don't know what the word is, just beaten down I was, I guess. Well, I made a bit of a wrong turn there and an unnecessary climb up, but I am back on course and it's only 8:30 and I'm basically here now where the bus picks up. So this is, I believe, the Stehekin River, but I thought it said Agnes Creek, so maybe the map wasn't updating. I don't think it was doing it right. Let's see what we got here. Whoa, very cool. Nice little valley. Oh, that was Agnes Creek before, and then it flows very near to here into this, which is the Stehekin River. So this is the High Bridge Historical Cabin, which is staffed, I guess, by the National Park Service. And there's a cool North Cascades National Park sign. Let me get a picture by that. Taking advantage while waiting at this, where the shuttle will pick up. There's 2 other hikers, and I think ranger maybe, and a couple of workers to dry out my stuff. Seems to be the routine these days. I mean, my shoes are just destroyed. Dirty, wet. Ugh, but hanging in there.
There's just hundreds of them right down in here. And yesterday there was 100 of them right in that little corner.
And how far up do they go?
This is about it. You can see a couple of them over here, but this is...
So they're spawning here?
There's like, but in the whole river, there's just thousands of them all the way down.
And what kind of salmon are they?
Kokanee.
Kokanee.
Yeah.
So Ranger Stan lives here from like June till around now when the weather gets bad, and he said that these are like sockeye salmon, but they're landlocked, so they actually don't go out to the Pacific Ocean. And you can see some in there now. They're trying to jump up, get even higher. Bus to Stehekin has arrived. Different people here for it. $10, but it comes with a tour.
Appreciation dinner for the valley on last night, which is
part of the ride in. Bus stops at this bakery, so definitely gonna get some food. So hungry, so good.
full of reservoir. They have been letting water out. Started in August, September. They've been bringing up quite a bit of water. So our normal lake level is 1,100 foot elevation, which is they try.
I know. Yesterday I was having the worst day of my life.
Could you say that again for the vlog?
What?
Yesterday you're having the worst day. Yeah, and now today is what? Beautiful.
Today is amazing. I have pastries in the sun. It's incredible.
Totally. This is Stehekin. Very quaint town. Reminds me a little bit of Alaska. Well, it's 10:30. This lodge at Stehekin has a charging station, so I'm getting going. But they've limited the buses now because of the time of year. So there's only one today more at 2 o'clock, and I don't think I'm going to be able to charge all this by then. And I need this. It's going to be like 5 more days in the wilderness. It's literally all the way up to the border. There's like nothing around, so I might end up having to stay the night, which it's a beautiful town, but I got to check the weather and stuff, so. Well, I'm in this little section they have for charging under the restaurant and the lodge. I'm doing my last resupply. Can't believe that. My last resupply of the Pacific Crest Trail in Stehekin. Beautiful Stehekin. Day 149. And yeah, I'm not sure I have enough right now because it's 80 miles from here to the border, and then it's 30 miles back to get to Harts Pass, where I'll hitch out. Hopefully hitch out. I don't know. That's for another day. But so I'm just trying to go through here and see, but it's a weird feeling realizing this is the last time I'll be doing this. And in the interim, I got this beer. It's a Pilsner, some local $7 beer from upstairs, but the girl was nice and I wanted to support them. And I also went to the post office to pick this package up, which is like maybe a block or two that way. And the guy working at the post office, talked to him for a little bit, named John. He thru hiked the PCT 2 years ago, and he came to Stehekin and liked it, and then moved here and found a job here. Pretty wild. Look at this. Initially, it said take cardboard boxes, 2 containers across from the post office, which is a little ways down. So obviously at some point they put this here to make it convenient for people to put their cardboard boxes. Dispose of cardboard box here. Broken down boxes only. Simple instructions. And naturally, there's a couple assholes who didn't break down their boxes, so I will do it for them. I've been battling like ringworm or athlete's foot for most of this hike at this point. And I always think I have it under control, and then it always comes back, especially with my feet. They've been wet now I dried them off for last night, but basically all day today hiking and all yesterday. I think that really adds to the problem. I only have a little cream left. I'm here sitting outside the visitor center for the national park, which is closed, but the free Wi-Fi is still working. The general store has it, but it makes you pay like for how much, and it goes away, and most people use up the data in like 2 hours, and like I don't know. And then Starlink is available on the ferry that takes you from here to town. I think it was called Lake Gen or something, but that ferry's gone. So I came here, so now I'm being just gross with all my shit laid out, trying to dry it out. My shoes are still damp and wet. Same with my inserts that just blew down. I didn't actually touch those. And then these socks that I was wearing today, which were dry to start, are wet. And the ones from yesterday are almost dried out. Well, even though the visitor center for the national park is closed because of the time of year, the Wi-Fi is still working. So thankfully, one of the Forest Service workers told me where to go to sit next to it, because it wasn't even showing up where I heard it would be, where around the building to get it. So I was able to call my dad, who I'm pumped to see tomorrow. We'll be at Rainy Pass, which I will be hitting tomorrow, probably sometime late morning, early afternoon. I was able to get one video uploaded, so there might be only like a day or two gap, and that of when there's no videos. And I dried out some of my socks and stuff, so now I'm gonna catch the 2 o'clock shuttle and get back on trail for the last resupply town here from. And thankfully nobody took my stuff that I was charging. I kind of trust people, especially small areas, but still, that was a little minor risk. All right, goodbye, Stehekin. Hope to come back and visit, but it's time to take the shuttle and get back on trail and finish out this adventure. The last town I'll be in until hopefully I'll have completed the Pacific Crest Trail. See y'all down the line. 312 foot
Free-falling waterfall. Just the upper portion is all you're seeing. It's 312 feet tall. That is the 3rd tallest waterfall down in what we call the lower 48 states, south of Canada, the United States.
Really?
There, like you say, that's number 3. The number 1 is down along the Columbia River in the Columbia River Gorge near Portland, Oregon, on the Oregon side of the Columbia River. That waterfall is called Multnomah. It is a 551-foot tall falling waterfall. The new schedule up there is 250. 250 today. Thank you. You're welcome.
What's up, guys? Thank you, Rocky.
Go away.
All right, it's 3 p.m. on September 30th, day 149. I just got off the shuttle at High Bridge. I am on the official PCT. It literally runs right past it. And let me flip this camera. This is the famous High Bridge cabin where I met Ranger Stan earlier. I don't know if he was actually in the video, but he was talking. You heard his voice about the kokanee salmon. And then I got a photo with him. So I'm gonna get as many miles as I can get in today before sunset, which is probably like in 3.5 hours. And then, wow, the final resupply. Crazy to think about. So I'm gonna power forward from there. Hey guys.
Hey.
It's my friends from South Korea. Sorry, I should have asked if you don't mind me filming, but I was in the middle of it. So it's my little vlog. But yeah, it's they've gone the whole way and said it didn't think it'd be as hard, but we were talking how many people they knew from the beginning that have quit. And so I was like, it's just amazing that we're still here. Right? So cool. Cheers. So it's mostly going to be up for a while. It's 7,200 feet ascent over the next 27.5 miles with only about 2,000 or 3,000 of descent. Got a really heavy pack. It's basically 4.5, let's call it 4.5 days of food. And so that gets me to the border and then back so I can get out through Hart's Pass. Yeah, wild. That's my last resupply of the Pacific Crest Trail. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I told myself maybe I'd learn the words beyond the first line from going to hockey games in Chicago that I know before getting here, but I just haven't had the time. There are certain moments though of the trail that I remember, and I think I'll always remember the rest of my life. Probably count them on one hand of instances of something someone said or whatever. And there's this guy trail named Husk. It must have been day 4 heading into Julian or something like that. And Mount Laguna or something like that. And he had already hiked the trail 3 times, I think. And he was doing it a 4th to write a book. He was gonna write a book about all the most interesting stories from each part of the trail that he could remember across 4 hikes. And unfortunately, he got some kind of like really bad rash that was flesh eating and actually trail hike ending, something like that. But he's a really cool guy. Didn't get to know him that well, but the few times I saw him early on, I'll never forget. I think it was day 4. I was camping with a few people prior to heading into, I believe, like Mount Laguna, and he walked by. It was already dusk, just the top of his lungs, didn't look at anybody. Walks kind of through the middle of where we're camped on both sides, singing. Well, maybe he looked at people and said hi, but after he walked away, singing "Oh Canada" super loud. And it was literally like within the first 100 miles. And I mean, a guy who's done it 3 times can do that. I'll never forget that moment. Well, for efficiency, I'm filming and peeing if you hear it. Maybe it's like, oh, you're watching this, it's so gross, but it's just, at some point, like I got off the bus and I saw my friend Jensen and Sebastian. I think I might have captured it on film actually when I was walking off. I had to pass gas or fart, and I just did it. I was like, excuse me. Like, people actually think it's funny to say excuse me. They're just like, dude, you serious? Just like, it's just at some point, like, you're just out here hiking, surviving, like, bodily functions that everyone has to deal with and can't control is just another part of the day. So pardon me if that bothers you, but I don't have the time to do both at the moment. What I'm going to do is take off my rain pants, which I'm still wearing because of how it was, but it looks like most things have dried out now. I have shorts on under. So these shorts, I've only hiked in like twice, but I think I explained yesterday or day before, I sort of developed this rain protocol with my limited clothing and gear. And so this is what I have on under now. I'm not going to change and put on my actual hiking pants. So it is what it is when I hike in shorts for the night. If it gets really cold, I'll just put these pants back on, but I'm getting way too sweaty hiking up because we know what goes down must come up on the PCT. I feel like there's something else I wanted to share. Can't remember at the moment. So if and when I do, I'll come back to that. Okay, removing my rain pants and a few little things like that. Probably just took about 5 minutes. I bought them off Amazon, partially because they're supposed to be removable over shoes, and I was able to do it, and I have done it before. It's always a struggle. I think part of that is the combination of the shoes I'm wearing from Ultra. They have like a little, I don't know what you call it, like almost like a cleat in the back of the shoe. So it kind of catches on that, but I was able to get them off and thought of two other things. One, the reason you see that red Garmin InReach on me, usually only when I'm coming out of town, is because I purposely put it there to remind myself to turn it on when I get on a trail, because I don't want it calculating the road mileage. It's going to confuse the people that are checking it, and also just throw off the map of where I've been. I have a process each night and morning where I don't think once I've forgotten to start it when I'm in my tent, but when I'm coming out of town, prone to forgetting that, so I put it there. That's why you really only see it on me in that location when I'm coming out of town, but it's somewhere fairly accessible. Otherwise, you can make the argument it should be on your person at all times in case your pack separates from you. But anyways, second is my friend Nine, or Dylan, that I just saw too. I don't think he was in the video, but he was getting on the bus there as I was getting off. Took photos. He initially had a book, the Tao Te Ching, in his possession, but then probably because of the weight, ditched it, took photos of all of it, and then he was reading a passage a day, basically. The Tao, some might incorrectly pronounce Tao, but Taoism, T-A-O-S-I, or T-A-O-I-S-M, Taoism. It's hard to spell and hike and climb over down trees, but yeah, Taoism, or you might hear Taoism, is the Tao Te Ching is like the main text, and it is, I believe, because I've read it, and read's the wrong word, I've reflected, meditated on it, studied it, I believe the second most translated book into English besides the Bible. So if you're somebody who is spiritually inclined or seeking sort of truths in that world and are not, myopically tied to the dogma of a certain religion and open to observing other concepts, it is highly recommended reading the Tao. One of the best spiritual books I've read and reflected on, in addition to things like the Bible, which speaks more to my upbringing. But anyways, he read his daily passage. We were talking on trail a few days ago, and he was like, I'm gonna flip the camera. He was like, hey, can I read something to you? It's the passage from the Tao today that I was looking at. I didn't want to ruin the moment by being like, yeah, can I vlog this? But I had a feeling it was going to be very pertinent, which it was. And I'm butchering this. But the takeaway was something like, most projects or goals are lost towards the finish because the same focus from the beginning is no longer present. And I was so happy he read that because it was so fitting. It's kind of like how I've been saying that I think it's a LeBron quote, but job's not finished, what's there to be happy about? Or don't want to get ahead of my skis. It really spoke to that. And I think it spoke to a lot of the other mentalities we've been encountering with people who are getting casual, skipping miles and stuff. But 9 is very much aligned with me on the purism scale. He's doing continuous footpath. So he has walked a continuous footpath from Mexico to here. But that means, I don't know in his case, but a lot of continuous footpath people, when there's a fire closure, they'll walk around it. But on the flip side, if there's a shortcut around the PCT, they'll take it because it's still continuous footpath. So it's in the same realm as red line purists like myself, basically. Although I say I'm pragmatic purist, but we're very much cut from the same cloth. And it's nice to walk with someone like that, similar to my buddy Jack from early on in the Sierras. And there's just so many people that have been cutting corners, skipping miles, haphazardly jumping on any chance to skip a mile since like after the Sierras. And so it was just a friendly, nice reminder for those of us not doing that to stay focused and not count your chickens before they hatch. So I wanted to share that as I am making this big ascent to round out my true last stretch of the PCT here. Just did my final resupply. Probably, I don't know, my pack's got to be about 30, low to mid 30s right now. I guess like 35 pounds. I only have half a liter of water, so it's pretty heavy. That'll go down as I consume food, but I don't want to get in the position I was the last few days. There's a few moments there like where I actually filmed a little bit where I was quite dizzy. But anyways, this is the home stretch. Point being, I got to stay absolutely focused on each mile, not get ahead of myself. And the big point I want to add was weather. So I looked into the forecast, and it looks like this crazy storm that had been showing up in the Garmin weather report for about a half of a week to a week out has largely dissipated. There is definitely going to be rain projected tonight and into tomorrow. I shouldn't say there's definitely going to. There's definitely rain projected today and tomorrow, and who knows after that. Some was showing in 3 days, but it's not the kind of storm that I thought we were dealing with, which I think was initially being forecasted. That would have me holding back. My mentality on this hike has always been take what is thrown at you head on when it comes. Don't get too cute with it and power through. Now, you could argue I didn't hike as smart as I could have. I hiked hard but not smart in the desert because I wasn't waking up early. And then when that very hot afternoons would hit, and most hikers would take like a 2-3 hour break, i.e. a siesta where they nap, I was just hiking, powering through that heat, which required a ton more water because of the sweat, which is heavier. But that was sort of my mentality. It's just like, and look, that was partly, I was making it hard on myself in a way because I didn't like getting up early. And I knew the bottleneck was still my body, not time at that point. The reason I started getting up early as soon as time was the bottleneck, my body could hang. But the point is, I have not ridden like, oh, there's smoke here, I'm gonna go around it, or oh, it's too hot, I'm gonna wait the day out. Like, I've had debilitating injuries I've had to stop for, but those aside, I've just taken whatever the trails presented to me, face value, and tried to persevere through it. And so this is no different, except in the case of potentially life-threatening situations where you could get hypothermia or something like that. And I don't, based on my assessment, I don't think we're looking at 4 or 5 days straight of rain. So as long as I can get some windows where I can dry my gear out, I will just deal with what's thrown at me as much as this could and will suck. So that's why I'm out. I did a quick flip in town, caught the 9 a.m. shuttle in, 2 o'clock back. By the time we got into town, I only had about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours. But I got all my devices mostly charged, not fully, but mostly. And I resupplied because I had a package sent to me and got a video uploaded and had some good food at the bakery. And on the way out, we stopped at the bakery too. And I packed out a sandwich for dinner, cinnamon roll for breakfast. So sorry for the long monologue, but there's a lot to catch up on there. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to vlog my experience and document it. And that's what this is. So I'll see you all down in a bit on the final push here. Pacific Crest Trail, class of 2025. Wow, check this out. I've just been kind of on a bit of a hike climb up here. And I did remember seeing this briefly when I checked out where the next water source would be, so I knew how much to take out of town. But I kind of forgot about it, and it was just kind of unexpected climbing up, and they popped my head up. Pretty cool. Gotta grab a photo. And it says North Cascades National Park. I thought I was already in it per far out because it had a sign saying I was as a boundary, but this also says the boundary, so I'm not entirely sure, but point being is somewhere right in front of her, at least here behind High Bridge. But cool to be in that. Stehekin Valley was awesome. Definitely would want to go back there. Very, very beautiful and quaint town. Had a lot of charm to it. I think our driver, because you kind of got a tour too, his name was Rocky, said there's about 2,000 residents, I think, like in the summer there or something, and then some seasonal workers, about 40 seasonal workers. So small, but very cool valley, and has some history to it as well. Kind of reminded me of Alaska. I don't know if I said that on the vlog or when I was on the phone, but yeah, it's I think I said on the vlog, it's a cool place. Cool place to be my final resupply point. I could have resupplied. There's one other option when I'm getting up to Highway 20, which is also known as Rainy Pass. It's just under 20 miles from where I left, High Bridge / Stehekin. However, just from a time saving standpoint, I decided to send only a box here and carry the extra weight. So basically I'm carrying like 3 to 4 days of extra weight of food. So that's a lot for these 19 miles that I could have saved. But the trade-off is it saves me probably half a day of hitching into town and whatever. Now, my dad's here now. Had I known that ahead of time or more planning, I would have maybe done this differently, because that's a lot easier when you have somebody you know with a car. Could have gone in, got stuff come out, but his whole thing was like he didn't want to intrude or alter or cause me any, stress, because I know he's like there, like waiting, like not in a bad way, but like just like not interfering. He just wants to be there to support me with anything I need, kind of towards the end, and cheer me on, if that makes sense. So totally get it. But so yeah, anyways, I could have gotten off. The town would be Mazama or Winthrop, I believe, to hitch into and resupply. Like my 2 South Korea friends, Young Won and John Luke, also known as Mr. Wagyu, they're behind me a little bit. That we just rode the shuttle back together. Their last resupply box is in Winthrop. But so for now, they just basically had to carry food for 19 miles, which is easy peasy. That's like literally a day in this case, because when we're starting one night and a morning. But it is what it is. Heavy pack. It's only fitting to round this journey out. My dad's so thoughtful, and I had him on the phone briefly just to touch base when I had Wi-Fi. He's like, is there anything you need? Can I bring you? And he's like, no, I think I'm all right. He's like, I went around to like 5 or 6 stores trying to find leukotape, but none of them had it. Just all the other stuff that doesn't work. I was so sweet. I was like, thank you, because probably the videos he had been seeing recently had where I still had the blister issues, which I do have some. Actually, I borrowed my phone to some older people in town who were having trouble getting a ride from their friend who lived there and needed to borrow a phone or whatever. And so we kind of became friends. And the guy looked at my feet. He's like, your feet look pretty good for having hiked this much. I was like, yeah. It's like, except those blisters. It's like, so there's where I had the blisters, having my feet wet these last 2 days, largely 2 days. They're like kind of, I don't even know what to call them. They're all like pasty and kind of like mushy, and it was peeling's the word I'm looking for. So, but yeah, it was so sweet of my dad. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. I'm gonna think that, time it so we should be able to take my lunch break and see him at the pass. And I'm gonna trek on forward. He fully understands, gotta complete this mission, and then very much looking forward to hanging out with him after. I guess we have not been to Mount Rainier National Park before, or I have not been. So we were thinking maybe doing that together after. That'd be a really nice way to kind of wind down from all this. But anyways, yeah, just so nice to have somebody, and my mom's the same way, just so caring and thoughtful in my life. I'm definitely very blessed in the family department. And that extends just beyond my immediate family too. I know there's many of my aunts and uncles watching this. I'm very lucky to have the support that I do. I decided a while ago, don't call to come back. I'm feeling really good right now. Not good like my mood, which can be quite volatile here. I'm so happy. My friend Tasha, who her name Kirby, you might have heard when I got to Stehekin, it kind of was filming, and she was kind of talking out loud sort of to me, and it kind of accidentally captured it. So then I turned to her, I was like, wait, say that again. But she was basically saying how absolutely miserable yesterday was, and then how beautiful today is. And the volatility out here is real. It's even been quite surprising to me how volatile I've been, largely driven by injury frustrations, but nonetheless, there's so much adversity out here to overcome, and every day you got to earn it. But I'm not necessarily talking about my mood, which can be volatile. My mood is is pretty neutral to positive right now. But I mean, I'm feeling good in terms of like confidence level of finishing this and completing it. I think it's driven by two factors, and I'm definitely not counting my chickens before they hatch. I'm just observing how I feel right now. There's a little pep in my step, so to speak. Sure, part of that's probably because the end is near, but I'm not in pain at the moment. There's a stark contrast to how I felt this morning when I leaving town. I don't know if that's because I had 2 beers or what, but I'm not going to question that at the moment. But I think the biggest factor is the weather. Like, knowing that this crazy 5-day storm that was being forecasted is now no longer there. And obviously a lot of stuff to the forecast wasn't right. Like, it was not forecast to be raining when it was all day 2 days ago or whatever, but or yesterday, but it is how it goes. So I think that's it, because I was just picturing 4 days straight of kind of misery, and what a bummer way to end out this whole thing. But, you know, I'm certainly not expecting 4 days at the beach here, like, weather-wise. There's going to be, when I last checked, it was showing rain starting this evening through the night, through tomorrow. But, you know, different percent chances, so not necessarily the whole time. And then the next day some too. But then it showed a couple of days that were colder, but sunnier or cloudy, and no precipitation. So I really think that's it. I think that was the biggest looming sort of factor that was just really crushing my spirits. So with that more balanced weather outlook and forecast, I feel a lot better about finishing this out these next 4 to 5 days. Rattled out that free throw shot. Rattled out that free throw shot. Looks like I'm coming into a campground of some kind, very wide open. So the Bridge Creek campground, presumably named after the bridge on the creek I just crossed. This is where my friends from South Korea are planning to camp tonight. I am going to keep pushing. They don't want to camp up on the ridge because it's going to continue to be a more steeper climb just given the weather, but I'm going to push for it. I don't think, in many situations, it could make a huge difference, and I'm, even after being out here for 150 days, no expert in that field, but I've learned a thing or two. But I don't think here a few miles more is going to make that big of a difference, so I am going to push along. I haven't hiked in shorts in a long time. I think I've only actually hiked in shorts maybe at least 2, maybe 3 other days this entire trail. And I'll probably include the pants over shorts rec in my unpopular opinions because it's definitely not the norm out here. But I have to say, I forgot how absolutely amazing it is peeing in shorts. It saves a lot of time. Also, I'm going to miss pee breaks with views like that. It is quite a valley or gorge. Pretty bold, majestic, quite steep. Can't even capture it all in the 0.5 zoom frame. Well, this is Maple Creek, very beautiful. There's actually a bridge up there. Presumably for when there's a lot more water coming through. You can't walk across like I should be able to now, but I was actually planning to camp here. I read a comment from 2019. There was one campsite just south of the bridge, but I don't see any. I'm gonna climb up and check real quick, but I might have to keep pushing, which I was debating doing anyways, because I still could get probably another mile or two before there's no light. Sunset's in 15 minutes. Okay. Well, I climbed up here to check it out. I don't see any tent sites, so that must have meant south on trail. It said just south of the bridge. To me, just means like pretty darn close, but I might have just missed it. Could be up there. I don't think so. I've already done a bunch of side climbing here. It's getting dark, so I think I'm already up here though. I think I'm just gonna walk across the bridge one at a time, but I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, so I'm gonna have to hang up. Well, let's see. Let's see how it is. Oh yeah, it should be okay. Okay, there's some holes. Just gotta watch the holes. This is fun. Moderately scary because I have 2 trekking poles in the left hand. Trying to... Okay. Nice view. Don't see any tent sites. I'm gonna have to push on, which I don't really mind anyways. But because I had a big break in the day when I was, charging my devices and waiting for the shuttle. Okay, now I gotta climb back down and get to my pack, which is down there. Yeah, honestly, maybe it's better just to go back the way I came. But I was up here, I was like, oh, this would be fun to cross the bridge. I'll figure it out. All right, there's a campground a mile and a half, maybe a quarter mile off trail, like an established campground with like toilets and bear boxes. It says there's a lot of bear activity in the area. They're obviously a little circular because they go to places like that. So I prefer to kind of more dispersed camping. And so I really try to avoid those for a lot of reasons, but I think tonight that's the move. This is just too cool of a spot, so I decided to have half my dinner now, which I packed out this and for dinner tonight from that bakery because we stopped on the way back too, and I packed a cinnamon roll out. It's absolutely delicious bakery, one of the best I've been to. Oh, I've got 0.8 of a mile to get to the campsite, and it's starting to rain and drizzle, which sucks. I just hope it doesn't get hard, or wow, that came out wrong. I hope it doesn't rain too hard before I can get to the campsite and set up. That would be quite the damper on an otherwise very positive, enjoyable afternoon. And I knew this was kind of a risk by pushing because it has been raining so many nights lately, and it was projected to rain at some point this afternoon, evening, into the night, kind of through the day tomorrow, but it's kind of starting. Hopefully I can get situated before it really comes down. Okay, so I went up side trail to this thing called 6 Mile Campsite, and I thought I'd be alone, just given the bus times, and I see a light, and I said hi, and it's Skillet.
Hey yo.
The man who carries a skillet and cooks fresh meat at night. Just so happy to see him. It's made my night. So this has been the end of day 149. I'll see you all tomorrow. You want to say anything to the people?
Yeah, I think we should have a rethink about our ultralight cookware because the skillet's worth every gram.
From your words. There you go. Cheers.
Thank you.